Mission largely accomplished. For now, I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank all the wonderful staff of the House of Commons. I want to thank all my friends and colleagues. I want to thank my rival friend opposite, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank everybody here, and hasta la vista, baby. Thank you.
Hasta la vista indeed. That was 5 days ago. It's 8 p.m. GMT on the 25th of July 2022, and news just broke, a story I've been following ever since he said those words 5 days ago, just broke now, that Boris Johnson has privately admitted, it's published in the Daily Telegraph, that he wants to unresign, he wants to wipe away that resignation. He's sorry he ever resigned, and he would like to return to number 10 Downing Street. Like I say, this has been in the background. That interview with Lord Cruddas has been published in the Daily Telegraph at 7:30, 30 minutes ago. Also news in the Telegraph that the Tory members who are behind this challenge by Boris Johnson, by Lord Cruddas and others, against what is in effect a globalist coup that was staged against Boris Johnson, is going into the High Court. They're going to go into the High Court to challenge the fact that Boris is not on the ballot. And balloting shows that, in fact, if he was on the ballot, he'd beat the existing contenders. And news as well that the Conservative members, now 10,000 Conservative members, have signed the petition to get Boris on the ballot. And that represents 1 in 12 of Conservative members who've taken the time and trouble to go and sign up to get Boris back on the ballot. It is absolutely game on, folks. It's never going to be the same again. The die is cast, and MAGA has come to the United Kingdom. When I say that, what I mean is that the disconnect between the grassroots and the rhino establishment, which we see in the United States, which was reflected in the grassroots support for Trump and the resistance of the conservative rhino establishment in the USA, that exact same momentum is playing out and coming to a crisis point now in the United Kingdom, as a disconnect between the party leaders and politicians and the ordinary grassroots members is reaching a crisis point. Party members are incensed over the removal of Boris Johnson. Enough of him, that's for sure, although others, of course, are happy to see the back of him. He's a very polarising individual, Boris Johnson, in some cases. But nevertheless, the support is intense and broad within that Conservative Party. And if you just check out these candidates that were up against Boris Johnson here now, if there was a vote right now with the Tory members, Johnson would win hands down against these two contenders. And Rishi Sunak would not even appear. In terms of the grassroots, the hardcore Brexiteer grassroots of the Conservative Party, how do they play out on this? Well, the disconnect couldn't be more extreme when you look at that. Because if you take, for example, the former Chancellor of the Exchequer and a former Goldman Sachs banker over here on the right, who was supported by the vast majority of MPs in the British Parliament, the vast majority of them, he only gets about 3% support from the grassroots. That's a bloody extreme disconnect, isn't it? When their number one golden boy, Rishi Sunak, who they backed en masse, doesn't even figure. In fact, it's 45%. Would back Boris Johnson among membership, and other polls indicate that it may be even higher. Certainly among engaged Conservatives, there is open war breaking out right now. The globalist coup is in big trouble, but in fact it derailed already. So we've already been successful against the globalist coup here, because this campaign was kicked off by the Financial Times, the final push to get rid of Boris back at the beginning of June. And those globalist interests were just lining up to get rid of Boris. And here's who they wanted to put in his place. And we came very close to getting Penny Mordaunt in as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Only early interventions by Lord Frost, a Brexiteer pioneer, when he pointed out that Penny Mordaunt was incompetent, and that really seriously affected her campaign. Only that intervention, which was a very quick and dramatic intervention, saved us from that outcome of getting a Penny Mordaunt Prime Minister. And that's just so dangerous, because that's right into the heart of the globalist plan right now. I can illustrate it best by asking you, what nation's flag is that behind Penny Mordaunt? Is that the United States flag, or is that the United Kingdom's flag? And let me answer that question for you, because as far as Penny Mordaunt is concerned, it doesn't really matter. The two should be one. That is the current globalist plan, that the United States should turn the United Kingdom into a serf nation, and also separately, the United States should turn the rest of the EU into a collection of serf nations. And Penny Mordaunt was the implementer. She almost made it true, and would have without some serious interventions. And the reason why that would be dangerous for us is because of her relationship, for example, with Bill Gates. And so how close is she to Bill Gates? Well, you can judge from this picture. I'd say that's about it's about a couple of feet, I would say, This picture here shows that she's perhaps a bit closer than that. In this case, it's down to about 6 inches, I think you'd have to agree. Very close in this one here again. Now, that's definitely down in the 6 inches territory. And Penny Mordaunt was a very, very dangerous candidate. She represented the insertion of Gates and the American globalist faction right into the heart of British politics, to rule at a defence level and also at the food level, which are the two critical areas that they're focusing on right now. And we almost got a Penny Mordaunt candidacy. Wow. Penny Mordaunt premiership doesn't even bear thinking about. But of course, the unspoken star of all this was Kemi Badenoch, because she was offering the voters exactly what they wanted, exactly what they thought they got when they voted for Boris, who quite frankly was not delivering on the agenda, despite the fact that he had been voted in by such an overwhelming majority of the popular vote and of the Conservative Party members. But Kemi Badenoch was prepared to step up to the plate and deliver exactly what they want. And that includes a stop to immigration, it includes full exit and Brexit from the European Union, and pivotally includes an end to these carbon taxes, which she made the frankly revolutionary statement on British television that as far as she was concerned, setting goals like 2030, 2040, etc. is simply writing cheques for the future that we won't be around to have to cash. And she was not into the politics of playing those games, and Kemi Badenoch would be, even to this moment, the superior candidate here who actually reflects the will of the voters, and she's not on the ballot. But right now we see that Boris Johnson has muscled his way back into the forefront of this campaign, and if he succeeds in getting back on the ballot, he will win. So I think the Conservatives, the pseudo-Conservatives in the Conservative Party, the pseudo-Rhino equivalents, Conservatives in name only, will move heaven and earth to stop him getting on the ballot here. But, you haven't just come here to find out what is it that happened today that's important. It's the why. And that's why I'm at this for 20 years. Arch conspiracy theorist since 2002. So let me now address the question of why. Why is it they made their move against Boris now? Surely it would have been, like from a political perspective, better to wait until the Ukraine war reached its predictable, dismal conclusion and caused a consequent implosion of Boris's support, and then allow him to take the political blame for that and get rid of him then. Why move now? Why moving now against him? Well, the reason they're moving against him now is this. Because of what's about to happen in the United States. That's why. Because in November, and that's getting closer and closer with every day, in November, the Democrats are going to be destroyed by a Trump-inspired MAGA resurgence in the United States. And the liberal media have been sort of quietly making a few noises here and there about some impending problems in November, but not outlining the full scale of it. And it will be impossible to conceal the scale of the absolute rout of the Democrats and the resurgence of MAGA in the USA. Impossible to conceal that. And so, who's that going to put pressure on? If this guy is doing really well in the United States, that would immediately inspire the conservative base, who currently are the people who back Boris. And so success in the USA in November means a potential challenge, and who knows what Boris might do if he had that kind of a wind at his back. These are the political dynamics. I don't have to point out those dynamics to you in great detail. You've seen them play out with Roe versus Wade, a sort of looming awareness among sort of liberal media that something's going on and that the political sands are shifting in the United States. And so that's the kind of infection of enthusiasm in the anti-globalist conservative base that they don't want to have to face in the United Kingdom. So it's time to cut that off. It's time to make a move. It's time to move against, even if it's only the figurehead of Boris Johnson, to move against him. So that was the why. But Johnson's not going. Johnson's got other ideas. We're in very interesting and brand new territory right now. Don't get me wrong, I'm not putting all my trust in Boris Johnson. I've already pointed out in previous videos, including some that weren't censored by YouTube, that Boris Johnson was the last client of current Health Minister Stephen Donnelly at the time when Donnelly, in a previous lifetime, was a consultant working with an American management consultancy firm, McKinsey, which is a notorious front for the CIA. So I ain't carrying any torch for Boris Johnson. But Johnson is either for real or he's riding a political horse here, which is a real horse. The horse is real. The question is whether the rider is true or not. And I know the rider is true in the States because he's got personal ego in it, let alone personal vision in it. And if you gave me a choice, I would prefer Cammy Badenoch because she is true, she's real, she's authentic. She's not a member of the World Economic Forum, to the best of my knowledge. And when it comes to politics, you've got to just take the best of what you can get. And that's a lot more authentic, as far as I'm concerned, than the front runners. But it doesn't matter. The base is energized. The base is activated, the base is informed, and similar dynamics to what played out in the United States are about to play out here. I only wish that the media in the United Kingdom available to people who have these views and who are against lockdowns and big government and globalization and all of that agenda had a decent media. What we saw instead is that the debates which they held were truncated, cut short. Why? Because Cammy Badenoch was doing so well. The more the public saw Cammy Badenoch, the more they wanted her rather than any of these. And that was the danger, and that was why they shut the debates down. But even outside of the mainstream media, Talk Radio, Talk TV, and GB News, they're both spouting, anti-Russian propaganda from morning till evening. So, there isn't really proper independent media, and that's something that there is in the United States of America, which has helped power the US end of this counter-revolution. And that's something, as you know, I've been following for some time. So yeah, the momentum is spreading, and the momentum is about to come and arrive. It has arrived now. The base is energized. Whether it's fake leaders or real leaders, they're energized, they're active, they're fuming, and the momentum is here. And we're going to see consequences for this. This is terrific. I don't care, win, lose or draw, how it goes. As you probably know, I have been given a strike of 1 week censorship by YouTube in the last, just a week or so ago, and I did a single video since then. So now, big change. Next video, from the next video I bring out, I'm going to be doing a short part 1 on YouTube and switching to Rumble uncensored for part 2 when I do videos. Yeah, so you'll get an intermission and just click the link in the description and you follow on into part 2, which I'm looking forward to, because there are things I need to say, there's stuff I need to communicate, which I haven't been able to do because of the limitations of YouTube. So we'll get around them by carefully selecting what I can talk about on YouTube, including this, because YouTube doesn't realize how absolutely incendiary what I'm saying here is, and why they shouldn't even let me talk about this. But I am. But as I say, from the next video on, it's going to be in 2 parts. Part 1 on YouTube, and then we go uncensored in part 2. That's what I'll be doing from now on. So that's how you get around censorship. Not by railing against it, but by just being pragmatic. All right, that's a breaking bulletin. I've been following, as I say, this story very closely for the last week, behind the scenes, watching the developments. Great to see it break big. You couldn't really take this seriously until it was reported that Boris Johnson himself had personally stated that he's sorry he had to step down, that he wants to go on this poll. And they're going to go into the High Court. They've got a barrister. They're ready to go into the High Court. I'll talk about High Court issues more in the next video, probably on the Uncensored Rumble Part 2. And I look forward to your company then on YouTube and on Rumble Uncensored. You just wait. I've got some stuff I need to share, and looking forward to doing that. And I hope you'll join me for that. So in the meantime, forbreakfornews.com on YouTube and now on Rumble. This has been Fintan Dunn reporting. See you soon. Thanks for joining me. And click like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm only 5 or 6 subscribers short of 5,000 on YouTube. Thanks.